Nick Kroll is with us. We're taping this late Wednesday afternoon. He spends 24 hours a day on Zoom, just having Zoom meetings, doing things on Zoom. He's all Zoom. He's Zoom 24/7.
I am truly on Zoom all day long, and I am no joke dreaming in Zoom. Are you having that at all? Are you experiencing that?
No, I've really tried to only do Zoom when I have to do Zoom, and still try to do phone calls and mix it up so I don't lose my mind.
Yeah, we have we're writing Big Mouth, and we're doing it on Zoom every day. So it's all day from like 9:30 to 4 or something like that, depending on the day. So I am on it all day long. My brain is sort of thinking that way. I definitely remember some dreams. And I talk in my sleep a lot, and my girlfriend says that I'm clearly talking as if I'm on a Zoom call or conversations with people in my sleep. It's like it's making me. I feel crazy.
I think the weirdest thing about Zoom was when it started to feel normal about 2 weeks in.
Totally. Well, it's like I don't know if you've had that where you physically saw someone, so like who wasn't in your like house or family, and you have like a socially distanced hang. And what was the creepiest thing to me was seeing people in person and being like, thinking it was going to be like so crazy to be like, oh my God, but then I was kind of like, oh yeah, it's kind of like Zoom. Like I was.
Yes, Zoom is now the basis of judging all other interactions.
Yeah. I need a quadrant of people at all times.
The social distancing hang, it really feels like that's started to become a thing the last 2-3 weeks, because I guess one of the positives is we've learned that human beings actually like being around other human beings sometimes. I was concerned for a long time, but it's still in play. Thank God.
It is. And we're trying to do different things that are obviously as responsible about how we do it. But like, we went to the drive-in. Have you been to a drive-in yet?
No. How was it?
It was fun. It's great. It's nice to be out in a place but everybody's in their cars, so you're separate, but you are in a place with people, even if you're all separated. It just felt like it was nice to have a collective experience,
So it's almost like we've reverted back to the 1950s, but with much better equipment in our houses.
Yes, for sure. And we went and saw, of course, I went and saw this documentary, Spaceship Earth, about this cult who built that biosphere in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you saw the movie Biodome.
No.
But I'm assuming
I did a long time ago. Yeah.
So I'm assuming Biodome was inspired by this biosphere. It's this sort of like cool hippie-ish cult who like raised $200 million and built a biosphere to create like a terraform of Earth to see if like when we colonize space, like we would be able to figure out how to like build and rebuild like Earth like living. And it was pretty good, we did a drive-in, it was so weird, but it was fun.
Well, you're a guy that likes to find humor in even the darkest of situations. What have been the funniest things about 3 months in quarantine to you? The things that you didn't expect?
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, it's been I don't know how you're talking about it, or, I think like my experience is I've been living in my house with my girlfriend. We cook constantly, and I spend all day on Zoom. What have I discovered? I mean, like I was not much of a cook, but I've been cooking like roasting chickens and cutting chickens. Have you felt like touching a full chicken, like feeling a full chicken feels like you're holding like a baby, sort of? And so
Okay.
the sensation of cutting a chicken in half, at like in my 40s now, the idea that I didn't know what that feeling was like is very disturbing.
Yeah.
So now I'm just cutting babies up, I guess is what I'm saying. Now, what else?
Have you rolled more or less handmade cigarettes over the last 3 months than normal? Or are you out?
I had quit. Yeah. I guess like when we hung out at Chang's house, I was still smoking I was rolling my own cigarettes. I have since quit. I went to a hypnotist.
Oh, you went
Oh
to a
yeah.
hypnotist.
Oh
Did it
yeah. Yeah.
work?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's worked 3 times, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It works for about 2 years, and then I jump back in. So I've gone to a hypnotist multiple times. I don't know how that's working now. How is your eating? Are you eating different? Like, what are you doing? Is your consumption normal or?
Well, it's less junk, right? Because you
Yeah,
go to the grocery store, you're not getting junk, and there's really no junk to get. So
yeah.
it's a lot of like just 2 meals a day, and
Mm.
then that's it.
Hmm.
You know, like a breakfast or lunch, whatever you do, and then some sort of dinner thing. Our family's been cooking more,
Yeah.
um,
I mean,
and that
it's been great in that way. It's like, but I know I'm like a privileged fucking,
yeah, me too.
so it's like so I have to say, like, it's been, it's been it has made me realize, like, how much I have, like, my family's all in New York, and I Zoom with them for like Passover Seders and like, and birthdays that I normally, if I weren't there, I'm involved more with. It's weirdly brought me kind of closer together with some with family and friends that unless I'm in New York or wherever I am, I don't talk to them that much. And now it's these like weird, much more frequent kind of things of like, oh right, we do need connection, especially in these moments.
That's totally
uh,
true. By the way, I'm a believer in the hypnotist thing because when I was like 14, I couldn't put my contact lenses in my eyes.
huh I had
I
the
for
same thing.
some reason was afraid of my finger and would be like this, and I couldn't get over the hump. And I wore glasses basically all the way through 8th grade because I just couldn't get the contacts in. And somebody suggested going to a hypnotist, and I went like twice. And now 40 years later, 35 years later, whatever it is, I I'm now like the greatest person of all time putting contact. I could put contacts in on an airplane. I can put it if I'm in a passenger seat in a car. I could probably do it upside down. Like if it was an Olympic event, I would win. And I couldn't do it until I went to the hypnotist.
That's that's really wild. So you're like parents, because I had the same thing. I got contacts. My friend Andrew, for Andrew Goldberg, who's I co-created Big Mouth with, had gotten contacts a few years earlier, and I couldn't. My instinct to blink was so strong, I couldn't get the contact in. He sort of taught me the trick to put it in. If you look away,
Yeah.
so your eye doesn't know, and then you look back in. But that's so interesting that you went to a hypnotist for that. Did you ever think about going back for anything else?
No, I kind of wish I had something I could go back for. I don't know what that would be. I need
Well,
some sort of
I've
vice.
gone, yeah, I've gone for smoking, and then I went back for snacks. Uh just addicted to snacks. A woman over the phone, she hypnotized me over the phone, and it's truly insane. But
Did it work?
I'd listen to it when I go to sleep at night, and I mean, it sounds so crazy, but like, it's also just like, if you're like, man, I really want to quit smoking, and you go to this hypnotist who you pay money to, and then he tells you, like, he's a super weird dude, this hypnotist I went to. He's like super tan. He's like an older man who's the color of like a beautiful basketball. You know those like beach town dudes who get so tan
Yeah.
that like a Wilson football, like a gorgeous leather football.
Yeah.
And he asked weird questions, like rhetorical questions, like, would you give a toddler a gun? And like, I don't know. I don't know the toddler. Does, like, has anyone done a background check on him? Like,
Am
and I
I in
guess,
Texas?
yeah, yeah. It depends, I guess, on what state you're in. So then he sort of hypnotized you, and it worked. Like, it like, and then this woman over the phone, I listened to her recording, and it's the power of suggestion. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's intentional. You're just like, I gotta quit eating this. But by the way, right before this started, I was eating cookie dough out of the fridge. So like,
So that's I say it didn't work that well.
it worked. It
I
worked all right.
I might have to go back to try to wean off all the MTV shows. Like I still watch The Challenge, and it's like I just got to move on with my life at this point. So maybe that'll be my next
That's a
hypnosis thing.
CT. CT's That Kid's a Monster.
And one of
CT
the
was,
great athletes we've ever had.
yeah.
I'm so desperate for sports. Like the Challenge and Survivor have become,
So
two of the things I'm into the most. And it's just sports withdrawal.
CT was on Kroll show. We had him on because our directors, season 3, Bill Benson and Dan Longino, are similarly love the Challenge and love CT. And we were doing like an action movie parody, and they were like, we should cast CT as like the badass, and he was great. He was super fun, great dude. But I wanted to bring something up about Survivor. Our one of our writers' assistants, Kelsey Krasniger, is a really funny, smart woman who's been putting together a Survivor quarantine, that she's been doing a virtual Survivor with a bunch of people, and they're playing full seasons of Survivor in their own quarantines, like all separately, but she is running a full game of Survivor.
Wait a second. First of all, that's the most incredible idea I've ever heard. Second, how do you play? Are you just like on Wednesday nights, you vote somebody out and everybody's just lobbying behind the scenes?
Yeah, she's got challenges. They vote, and then they have like offsite. They have their own. They're doing it on Instagram and YouTube, and they're doing their testimonials, and then they're having alliances that are playing out in the offshoot of the week, and then they get together and have like the whole ceremony each week, and there's winners. I'll send you a link to check it out.
That's an incredible idea. How do they simulate the BO? Is that just you have to supply your own BO? Like, what do you do?
I guess so. You have to spray yourself. You just have to like sit in your own. I mean, it's not that hard. We're all sitting in our own filth all day long. So
do you have to shit outside, or can you use normal toilets? Like, how does that part work?
You poop outside, and then you have the bugs eat. I'm gonna go too far, so I'm gonna stop because I don't.
So how many people are left? Is it like 6, 7 left?
I think this is her second season doing the show, and this is the quarantine edition, and I don't know where it stands right now.
That's a brilliant idea.
It's great.
I mean, all quarantine entertainment content ideas on Zoom have, in my opinion, been a little lacking. This is the first one that actually feels like it could work. I'm a moderate Survivor. I'm not historically a huge Survivor fan. I think this time has sort of driven us to it a little more, but I watched some of this stuff, and it's really funny. And I have some friends who are doing it, and they're like, it is getting me through. One, it's getting me through the quarantine, but two, it is like very much like, it feels very much like I'm on Survivor, and it feels like super intense and super engaged and super emotional. And so I'll forward it to you to check out. Yeah, I want to see that.
Reel of it. Yeah, it's great.
I don't know how you replicate Jeff Probst.
Yeah,
not just for that idea, but in life, because he's truly one of a kind. Like one of the great talents we've had.
Yeah, he wears a UV protected Columbia like sports shirt better than just about anybody.
Oh yeah, he's good at narrating the challenge action too.
He is. I haven't watched
really
Survivor in a long
announcer.
time. I hadn't watched Survivor in a long time, and someone was like, "You got to watch this season. It's like it's the All Stars, it's the champions or whatever." And so I tried to watch one episode on like CBS on demand on like DirecTV, and I was in until it got to the first commercial break, and then it was 10 minutes of commercials for CBS shows, and it kept re-looping on the commercials, and I watched like 4 commercials for Blue Bloods, and I lost my mind and was like, I got to turn this up. I can't do this anymore.
Blue Bloods, season 13.
Yeah. Look at Tom Selleck in a huge jacket to cover his belly. And I was
Tom Selleck's hair is now Dr. Pepper color. What happens on Blue Bloods? All I know is Donnie Wahlberg, who I really like. I'm so happy that he's just, at some point on those shows, you're just raking in cash.
Yeah, he's married to Jenny McCarthy. He's making season 13 money on Blue Bloods.
Oh my God.
Good for Donnie Wahlberg.
It's one of my dad's favorite shows. Speaking of favorite shows of people in my family.
Yeah.
So you're working on season 4 of Big Mouth.
But
now you're doing it on Zoom.
Yeah, we're finishing season 4. We're actually working on season 5 right now.
Oh, you're done?
Season 4, yeah, the seasons take so long. It takes like a year and a half to make a season, like from beginning to end. So we're deep into, so we have to be way ahead of wherever we're getting ready. So season 4 will come out in this fall, and we're working on season 5. How's your son doing?
So there's been some developments. Um, Still loves Big Mouth, obviously.
Good.
I know he's once the quarantine hit, he rewatched all 3 seasons, and
Okay.
then we could tell it was happening because he was significantly more abrasive around the house and more obscenities and things like that. We're like, "Are you watching Big Mouth again?"
Sorry.
"No."
Sorry about that.
But then he really likes the show Duncanville.
Oh, cool.
And
The Fox show.
yeah, and, so he has that. So now it's like there's like a mistress for you where,
That's tough.
the longer you stay away with a new season, the more
I,
you're just opening the door for these other shows to kind of seduce him.
I gotta stay on it. I mean, it's like it's making sure as a drug dealer that you're keeping your clients supplied, or they're going to find a new outlet. I have to watch that. But he's a real animation kid. Is he was
He
last
is.
time when we talked last, he was starting to go shoot stuff. Is he making stuff in the quarantine? Was he like making some videos and stuff with his buddies?
Yeah, they're
The
doing like
horror
a lot of
movie.
yeah, they're doing well, that stopped because now
Right.
none of the kids can be with it. None of them are creative enough at age 12 to figure out how to do like entertainment through Zoom.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of music stuff. But yeah, I feel like he has good taste with animated stuff.
Hmm.
So when he adopts a series, I always feel like it's a good sign for the series because for the most part, he's pretty on it.
He
He
picks
really
the
like he
winners.
has high taste for that stuff. But yeah, the Big Mouth is still like is
Uh,
way
we,
up there for him.
we're working on that as we speak, and then we'll go into a spinoff show called Human Resources.
Oh yeah, you
Uh,
told us about that the last time.
yeah, so we'll go into that once we're done. Obviously, animation right now, similar to podcasting, is something that we can continue to make at this truly bizarre time. So
I was
it's a
going to ask you
nice.
about that. It feels like that there's actually kind of a competitive advantage to producing animated series and movies and shows versus having to actually be on a set producing stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's simply just the idea that you can keep moving the ball down the field in isolation from each other in a way that like live action you can't. I mean, I think they're going to start to try to figure out creatively how to do live action while we're still in quarantine. It's like, do you have a funny take on uh Room, the Brie Larson movie? If you want to make
Room the
Room,
comedy.
yeah, can we do Room the comedy? Room the later years. Let's see what the boy is up to in that.
The lady in the Sounds of the Lambs
Yeah,
dungeon, just a
yeah.
whole 13 episode arc with her.
Yeah, we do a series about if baby Jessica had stayed in the well, like what's she up to now? We could do that. I mean, it's all about getting creative. But yes, no, animation has allowed us to. We keep, we're recording over Zoom. At some point, we'll probably have to get proper booths in our houses, or we'll have to record some point when things get a little safer to go out to proper recording booths or whatever.
Your
And
audio sounds super clear right now. I don't know what
does
you
it?
got going on over
Got a
there, but
little. I got a little Apogee mic popping
oh,
off.
nice.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got that, and we're trying different things. I got a big sound blanket that I sometimes will cover myself in, like a child in a fort. And then yeah, so we're moving along, and then it's great.
You're doing stuff with Mulaney again.
Yes, that me and John Mulaney have been working with these two older 70-something-year-old New York City Upper West Side monsters named George St. Geegland and Gil Faizon. They had a show on Broadway called Oh Hello on Broadway. It became a Netflix special as well. And John and I have been trying to help them produce their podcast. Some people say they sound and look a lot like me and John, but make no mistake, they're different men. They're much worse people than we are. And so they decided to do a podcast. They jumped on the podcast train. I think they saw your success and decided to do a
Thank you.
podcast about the life and death of Princess Diana. They felt like that would be a useful podcast to do. And so they started doing it about a year and a half ago, and then got busy and bailed on it. They had a falling out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they had a major falling out. But before they banked all these interviews, they got Ira Glass and Sarah Koenig from This American Life and Serial to try to guide them as people deep in the podcast world. And they interviewed John Oliver and Lin-Manuel Miranda and some psychics and a few other people about the life and death of Princess Diana. And then they had a falling out. They stopped doing the podcast. They got busy. And then in the middle of the quarantine, we got a Xerox copy of a fax that they sent. And it basically said, we're back. We want to put the podcast out. So me and John, along with our producer, Lena Mitsitzis, have put out this Oh Hello podcast. They call it the Oh Hello podcast. And it's about the life and death of Princess Diana, Town. And Lena just won a Pulitzer for her work with Ira Glass and company at This American Life. So she's splitting her time right now between winning a Pulitzer Prize and working with Gil Faison and George St. Geekland.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So if this does well, could season 2 be about Natalie Wood, or like, is there another mystery?
That's it. That's the question, is where they would go. That it would be Natalie Wood. There are still too many legitimate questions for them to actually answer. They would be much more likely to be like what happened to the Menendez brothers. Like, well, they murdered their parents. It's like, all right, sounds like we solved that one then. So we'll see. It's been really it's fun. The people have seemed to like it. It's been, there was questions about whether the boys, because the boys are they're in quarantine, they're self-quarantined in New York, but George believes Gil has double COVID. But they haven't talked much about COVID inside of it all. They really just have focused on Princess Diana. And, each episode feels a little bit like, one episode feels like WTF. One episode feels like, Serial or This American Life. One episode feels a little bit like, so they sort of are trying out all these different formats, They haven't messed with The Ringer yet. They have not messed with the Ringer format at all.
I mean, obviously, competitively, we're concerned.
It's fair. I mean, it's about elevating. It might elevate everybody's game. You know what I mean? Because they are not above it. They're not above stealing playbook. They're not above any of it. It's all about who does it best.
I highly recommend watching the Natalie Wood documentary on HBO, because it's one of the weirdest documentaries I think that's ever been made. And
does it talk about Christopher Walken in it?
It talks about, it's produced by her daughter. They interview RJ, who's like 90 and still doing great. George Hamilton's in there. It's like a celebration of her life, but then dives into the boat. But I left it with more questions than I had going into it, and it's just bonkers. It's not even that good. It's just bonkers.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of this Spaceship Earth, that documentary about the biosphere. Similarly, like, you're like, what happened here? But you're still like, man, I still want to know what happened. Like, why did these people build a biosphere, and what happened to it? Because I don't even want to ruin it. The villain at the end of this documentary, it's a very funny reveal who the villain of this documentary. I won't ruin it, but it's very funny. But I got to watch that Natalie Wood thing. I'm assuming, I beyond assuming, but the Last Dance, I'm one behind, but I cannot. It's so fun to watch again. It's so fun to see all that for me.
Do you know the original DVD that they had was kind of narrated and hosted by John Cusack? Because that's what when we saw it, when we were trying to get it for 30 for 30 at the end of the 2000s.
Yeah.
And they had kind of made a documentary out of it, but then never did anything with it. And Cusack is like a recurring guy. That's why that footage of him in there, there's like way more John Cusack.
Right.
I have no idea how it happened or why it
it's
happened.
Like he's a Chicago boy, I guess.
And he's like narrating stuff, and it's totally different.
That's weird. Yeah, well, that's right. Oh, that's right, because that footage had been around. So this was before Jordan had agreed to do.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, initially it was they filmed him for the year. They actually made the documentary. They held off. Then they gave it to Spike Lee. He was gonna. Then he decided not to, and it just kind of bounced around. And Jordan basically wasn't interested. And then that something flipped in the mid 2000s. My son is here. He wants to ask you a big mouth question.
You got it.
Come on in. Hold on. I'm going to give him you got to put the headphones on.
There we go.
All right. Come in. You got to sit down.
What's up, bud?
Hello, Nick.
How you doing?
First of all, the whole entire series, wow. It's
Thank
perfect.
You.
I love it so much.
Thanks for the chef's kiss.
It's changed my whole entire quarantine life.
Well, you had already seen it, but you rewatched it.
I rewatched every season 5 times and counting.
It was 5.
Thank you.
Great. Ask him, what question do you have about season 4?
All right. First of all, stop. So people say the Department of Puberty is the best episode. I really disagree. I think it's episode 4, season 1, the sleepover episode. No doubt in my mind, that is the greatest Big Mouth episode ever.
Wow. I like this. I like, you picked up something from your dad, which is to have very clear, strong opinions on things. And you're not afraid to make a proclamation, which I respect. I like that. I really like that sleepover episode too. How come, what is it? Why do you like that one so much? What is it about that one for you?
We learn about Jay way more and his brothers, Val and Kurt.
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Yes, you should ask your dad, not for many years, but ask your dad if he's ever seen the Italian Stallion.
Have you ever seen the Italian Stallion porno?
With Sly Stallone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In episode 10, season 1, it's entitled The Pornscape. I know every episode.
Well, ask him, what do you want to know about season 4? Because they finished it. It's
done. So we're done with season 4. But okay, so the Department of Puberty, not your favorite. But
I love the Department of Puberty.
Okay,
I just
good.
think
you like that sleepover episode.
100%.
Okay.
Best episode.
Okay. And they fight there. That's Nick and Andrew getting a fight. It's the girls sleep over and the boys sleep over. We meet Nathan Fillion, that Missy has a crush on Nathan Fillion. We find out about the Italian Stallion porno, which then comes back in the Pornscape in the last episode of episode 10. Boy, you really know the order of these things better than I do. That's crazy. Okay. All right. So do you have any questions about season 4? You want to know? What do you want to know?
I'm so confused on what's happening with Jessie. I'm not sure if she's moving or not, even though her mom put her house on the market. I'm so confused.
Sure. Okay. So, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to, I don't know. It's so early to I don't want to spoil anything, but I also want to give you some info. So, I'll say this, Jessie's mom moves to the city. I won't say exactly what happens with Jessie, but the first 3 episodes of the season, it's the summer, so we go straight into the summer. So stuff goes down over the summer.
Wait, I have something he knows about. You cheated on Big Mouth with Duncanville.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's a good. You like Duncanville? It's good. I haven't seen
good.
It. Okay, good.
Listen, a kid's got to do what a kid's got to do. You can't judge. Like he's got to get his fix elsewhere. It just has to happen.
I got no qualms. It's all good people making that show. I got only love, and it's as long as I know that Big Mouth is, holds a specific place in your life. That's great. That's all. And that you can see when the time comes that you and your dad can watch the Italian Stallion together.
Where's Badminton? I want to know.
The Badminton. Do you think the Badminton is part of Steve or separate from Steve?
Separate.
It's
a ghost. I'm telling you, it's a ghost. It's a ghost.
Interesting.
Steve's dad.
All right, we're wrapping this up.
Okay,
Nobody knows what you're talking about now. You're going deep. Say goodbye to Nick.
All right, goodbye, Nick. Thank you.
Goodbye. Thanks, man. Good to see you.
That was quite a Zoom cameo. Unfortunately, I didn't have a second headphone. I couldn't hear anything you talked about. It was good. Can you tell he's watched every season 5 times?
He really does. He knows the show, and he really understands it, and he's into it in a sort of a deep level. It's not a kind of surface level version of it. It's a really kind of very nuanced, deep understanding and examination of it.
Well, it's interesting because he turns 13 in November.
Yeah.
And my wife and I were, like, hey, should we talk to him about puberty? And she's like, he already knows everything from Big Mouth. You can thank your friend Nick.
Well, my apologies.
I was like, it's probably better for him to learn that way than the way our generation learned, which is like an awkward car ride with your dad.
Yeah, or just
like hey, or nothing.
Or getting your hands on the Italian Stallion, the Sylvester Stallone porn.
It's
so
it should have been a bigger deal that Sly Stallone made a porn.
I know. Well, I guess the history of it is that he made it in the past, and then once Rocky came out, they renamed it the Italian Stallion. They were trying to play up. Yeah, it was a smart play. It's a good.
That's a good move.
It's a good marketing play.
I totally support that. Okay, this was good. It was good to see you. I'm glad things are going well.
Yes,
I'm glad you're still able to do comedy through Zoom.
And we do what we can. We do what we can.
Say hi to everybody.
I will.
And tell everyone at Big Mouth thank you because the show means a lot in the Simmons house.
I will. And if people want to check out the Oh Hello podcast, it's all over. Yeah. It's on all the things. It's on all the things.
I'm interested to see what we are going to unearth about Princess Di too.
You
never know. It was undercovered weirdly. It was not nearly as big of a story as it should have been.
It was, and 21 years later, it was. The boys still think there's much more to be examined.
There could be. Who knows? I think they're lifting the hood up on this a little bit.
It's groundbreaking journalism. All right, man.
All right, good to see you. Thanks, Nick.
Take care, man.